Ready?
All right, yeah, let's go.
Welcome everybody to Sports Back Talk with Boley and Ringer. And well, we took a week off.
Yeah,
I don't know. Can we discuss the reasons why we took the week off or no?
Sure.
I just got a text message like an hour before we were going to tape the show. It says we ain't taping and we ain't having a show. So
I just said, I think I commented we really don't need a show.
Yeah.
I didn't have anything to talk about, and I don't know if you had much to talk about. And,
well, I mean, there's with the playoffs going on, there's always something to talk about, but nothing that we maybe wanted to talk about.
Yeah, well, we'd have to generate entertainment.
Yeah, okay.
And, it's like a saying, just because you, in the merchandising and sales area of my life, just because I get a bunch of stuff doesn't mean it has to all go up.
Okay.
Okay, because if it isn't effective, then why put it up?
There you go.
Same thing here. If we're going to put on a show that's not entertaining and exciting to our viewers, then why do it?
Then why do it? So
that's why I thought you were going to cry. I could feel your disappointment over the texting.
I thought maybe you were like pulling my leg.
Really?
Like, what? I thought this early late in the ballgame, I thought you were maybe giving me the goof.
What day was it?
That was Monday.
Really? That's kind of rude then.
Yeah, well, it was like, are you just goofing me or something? I think I texted back, really?
I know you did. It's like I told Diana, I said, gosh, I think he's going to cry. Maybe I'll just say we'll do the show and
then we can be done with it. So
yeah.
So we probably should start with the hockey playoffs. I think the NHL playoffs.
Sure, we can start.
My Western Conference is completely blown out of the water, basically. I think I could just about like ixnay it. So I got to hope that the East stays pretty much to form. And with the Wild losing and with LA losing and what's Anaheim, San Jose? San Jose won that in 5. Is that correct?
4.
In 4?
Both San Jose and Las Vegas swept LA and Anaheim.
So right now I got 1 out of 3 or 1 out of 4 on the West and.
See, I won 2 out of 4. I did good. I knew what I was doing. The Winnipeg, Nashville, though, I think those were the biggest no-brainers in the 8th series that were going on.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought L.A. and Anaheim would win, and they got blown out. I could be 4 for 4 in the East, so if Washington wins tonight and Boston wins tonight, I'll be 6 for 8. So.
And that would make me 5 for, I think, as we agreed on everything in the East to start
we did,
with.
huh?
I think so, because
I had
Washington.
I had Columbus, didn't I?
You did.
Yeah.
You did. Because I got Washington going all the way to the finals against Boston. And so I suspect we should talk about the Wild. Chuck Fletcher earlier today let go from his position as general manager of the Wild. I know that you have been asking for that?
Not really asking.
That it needed to be done?
It needed to be done. He let's put it this way. He's leaving the team in better shape now than when he got the team. So I will give him that. He wasn't afraid to go for it. He took some chances. You got to understand some of his trades. When you're making trades with the lowly teams like Buffalo and on a regular basis, that can't be good for your organization. And trading with Arizona for Hansel, that was a bad thing. But he was going for it, so you can't say he knows the window was getting short, and it's even shortening now that he's leaving. So the new GM that's going to come in is going to have his hands full because of the contracts.
Is he going to be able, the new person, going to be able to unload some of these people? I mean, I know, I'll start maybe at the top of maybe my list of people that, I don't know. I'm going to start with...
I will answer. You mention the name and I'll say impossible, or I'll say not a chance.
Not a chance. Can't because of the contract.
2 years left.
2 years left. Nobody's going to take him
Nobody
on.
wants it.
Nobody. How about...
He's a third-line player who's playing a top 6 role.
Okay. The next person that comes to my mind, that he's on the top of your list, Charlie Coyle.
The new GM that they're hiring, and I mentioned this in a tweet, is the new GM has to evaluate what he really has. Chuck Fletcher, I think towards the end here, couldn't, because he was not going to say he was wrong on Coyle, Zucker, Nino, all these guys that he promised to Parise and Suter to sign, that these are his core young players. And I think he was at a point where he was self-doubting his evaluation on his players. Moving of Haula turned to be a disaster, as well as Tuck. But I agreed with both of them. I'm not going to throw them under the bus.
That's the nature of the beast.
It's like Rubio now. Rubio's an all-star.
And like I told the kids last night at the basketball, they had their season-end banquet finally last night. They were talking about and Rubio, and I'm like, he has one of those games a month.
Yeah,
he won't score 26 more points in this series. Probably.
Might not.
But so what about Nino Niederreiter? I mean, Nino had splashes of greatness. And
Nino would intrigue players. He's had a pretty good contract of about $4.8 million for the next 4 years, which is very. It's a nice contract for him, but it will be tough to move him. Plus, the Wild aren't going to want to move him. They know there's something there about him that they like because he does play hard. The reason everybody and I'm so down on Charlie Coyle is he just doesn't look like he cares.
Okay.
Charlie Coyle could be a Mark Scheifele, and I've had this discussion how many times.
Yeah.
Blake Wheeler, David Backes, Ryan Getzlaf. I mean, these are big horse names, and Charlie will not play that style. He just wants to play hockey, friendly hockey. He wants to play pond hockey. He wants to have fun. And believe me, it's no fun being David Backes. It's no fun being Mark Scheifele. Those guys go through a lot of pain. But I'll never forget the Gretzky quote when the Islanders won their fourth Stanley Cup against a young Gretzky, Messier, and all them. And Gretzky went in the Islander locker room and saw what the winning team looked like. They were exhausted. They would sacrifice everything to win a Stanley Cup. Where Gretzky went back to his locker room and nobody looked tired, everybody looked, nice, well-groomed. They looked like a beat-up bunch of old guys.
And they were, probably.
And I would say the same thing about the Wild, is they're just so doggone soft that it started happening about 4 or 5 years ago when the rules were changing, when all the holding and hookings and things like that. And Fletcher's idea was, I need to build a team with speed and finesse. Pittsburgh's been able to do it. With not very many tough guys.
Yeah, I'm going to say, but they don't maybe necessarily have a tough guy, but do they have different top-end players who play with a little, maybe more grit?
Gensel's a perfect example. How can Pittsburgh, like Brian Russ, they bring all these guys in, under Mike Sullivan, it doesn't matter who the coach is, but like somebody mentioned today, would Guentzel, if he played for the Wild, would he ever do that?
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt having Sidney Crosby on your team, but
Malkin.
Why doesn't a Kyle Rau or a Luke Cunnin, or why doesn't any Minnesota Wild draft pick turn out to be a stud?
Yeah.
We got good players right here. We got a bunch of them. We got 11 really good players, but we don't have that elite player.
Yeah.
Okay, and we don't play tough. I mean, last night was desperation, and they come out flat. Dubnyk was not sharp. 3 of the 4 goals that they let in were very weak. And it's like, I don't know, I read a bunch of quotes that, Boudreau said they're going to give it everything they got in this one. Well, to me, when you got to say that there's something wrong. And I think the leadership, I would probably think Koivu could not be the captain next year. I think they got to just change. They aren't going to be able to change a lot of the personnel, but they can change a lot of the roles of the personnel.
Where's Dumba end up in this?
Dumba's contract, he's made some money.
Yeah?
I think he's shown the Wild that he's a top 2, top 3 D. Him and Spurgeon and Suter would be considered, and Brodin would be a solid 4. Sealer's a solid 4 or 5. And I think Soucy's a solid 5 or 6. Let's put it this way, and I know a lot of people are going to hate me for this. If Nate Prosser is a top 6 defense next year, we are in trouble again. Okay, nice player. He's cute. He's your 7 guy. He's been to St. Louis twice and can't crack the lineup. Yeah. We have better defensemen from 1 to 6 than St. Louis does, and he can't crack their top 7. The reason he's always been able to hold on as he's well liked, and the Michael E. Rileys and the Olafsons, and boy, we got our 20-somethings that just are disappointing. I mentioned 6 simple keys to next year and the future, and it's Dumba, Brodin, Granlund, Zucker, Coyle, Needle. That's your core. Those are all your 24-year-old, 25-year-old core players that need to lead this team, and they are not. And until they start taking it and putting a stamp on it and start playing meaner and stronger and more aggressive, we'll always be a good regular season team, but
yeah, the game is different. The game is different,
we just can't
in the playoffs.
Now you're going to see a series coming up, Nashville and Winnipeg.
Yeah,
that's going to be ugly. I mean, imagine all the late hits in that thing, and Bufflin and Ryan Ellis and Subban, and it makes for a great series.
You want to tell you more? You want to add any more to that to the hockey?
Yeah, just the fact that you can't really move a lot of these players. You could trade some guys who have been underachieving, like a Coyle, but those ones always come back to haunt you, and maybe it's a wake-up call for him. Well, I better do something now. My career's on the line, on the edge, and so we shall see. Seattle's going to have a team here in a couple of years, so we'll have to end up giving a couple more good players away. Probably
will the same rules be in place that Vegas got? No.
I say they will. I mean, there's been nothing more exciting than the Las Vegas Knights this year, as far as something new in the NHL. And
but they're not going to have the same rules.
We all love Vegas,
where you got to give up the ship so that they can have a great team for the first season.
Well,
don't make them work for it. Like all the other leagues do it, they start them with nothing, and
kind of like the old ways. But I think this way worked better. I think all the teams had to make really tough decisions, and that's what I like. And then your true scouts and evaluators that some think they just are given jobs because there's buddies with the right people, and a lot of times that is the case. But Wild. Not a lot of changes, but the personality of the team will change. And that's going to be good.
New GM bring in a new coach, possibly?
Ooh, that's a good question. I do know this. Leopold did say Bruce Boudreau would be in close contact with the whole regime. I think they want Bruce Boudreau to have a little more say on some of the players.
Is he going to be the new GM?
No. My nephew brought that up, and I about went through the phone at him. Bruce Boudreau's too intense and too emotional and too attached to the game to be a good GM. I think Neil Shee would be a fantastic candidate. Neil's, I think, has had some opportunities in the past, and I keep telling him to do it. But he's a family guy, and his family's very important to him.
Absolutely.
So, but I thought Neil would be a great candidate. Watch out for, the typicals. The assistant GM in Tampa. I like Norm McIver, the Chicago Blackhawks assistant. Tommy Curver's name has been brought up.
Bloomington boy, right?
Yeah, Bloomington boy from UMD Bulldogs. So a whole bunch of names will be scattered around. But as I always say, Ringer, I'll take the good players. You can have the good coach and execs.
Fair enough. I'm going to make him talk about the NBA for just a minute because I know he wants to. Mm-hmm. Do the Timberwolves win any more games in this series? Are you surprised that they won one game in this series?
You knew Houston was going to go through the motions in one of the games, and it was the last one. And now the whole Minneapolis Tribune, which of course you can't read, but I can because it's the paper gets delivered on the range.
Right.
The whole Minneapolis Tribune was how good the T-Wolves are now and how they got new life. And one good observation by Dan Barrero of KFan. One good observation. No, he has a lot, but I like Dan Barrero. But what he commented on was the Timberwolves, unlike the Wild, have superstar pedigree.
True.
They got the studs to win. They got the skill and talent. They've just never played together. Where the Wild are just a cute little team, and
I can buy that. And the only complaint I have about that is Cat scored 13 points combined in the two games in Houston, and he only scored 18 at home in the win on Saturday night. I told my basketball players today in school that the Wolves won't be within 27 points at the end of this ball game tonight. Houston's going to come out and put an absolute slobber knocker on them.
They're not happy, especially if they read the paper today.
They by the middle of the second quarter, if you are watching the game, and you're going to be seeing this 3 days after probably, you will have been turning the channel midway through the second quarter. Houston will absolutely obliterate the Wolves tonight and finish it off in 5.
Okay, last question on that. Over-under on Karl Anthony Towns, 18 points. Will he go over that 18 or under?
Under.
I say go over. T-Wolves will win.
Tonight.
Yes.
Game 4.
Sure.
Who is this guy?
I just said they aren't going to win another game, but just because of how excited you are and you're laying the 27, I'm going T-Wolves, my puppies.
All right.
My puppies.
Let's move on to the Twinkies if we can.
Yeah, kind of a tough weekend, but still early in the year. Pitching our bullpen, which is supposed to be the strength.
Kind of let us down a couple
times. Kind of had a
times.
tough weekend. What, they give up 15 runs or some dog?
Yeah, something like that. That sounds about right.
3 games, and not a good weekend. Mowers went from a 4.15 average to like a 3.15 average over the weekend, and that can happen early season. But again, a lot of players in slumps, a lot of people fighting the ball. Dozier's off to a good start, but they'll be fine.
Yeah, 16 game hitting streak to start the season.
In New York for next 4.
In New York.
Split them?
Oh, man, I think you get a split. You know what I'm afraid of? Stanton gets off the schneid.
Yeah.
Stanton gets off the schneid because last time I looked, and I haven't looked probably because it was a busy past week with the Hall of Fame and all. Last time I heard Stanton was like 3 for 44 at home with like 21 strikeouts or some amazing number like that, and the fans are booing him and whatever else. And you know, in typical fashion, he'll wake up against the Twins and go like 8 for 13 with 4 walks and 6 home runs or some silly, stupid thing like that. But
well, he could. I mean, Sano could go off at any time too. I mean, him and Stanton should get together and maybe go to a nice steakhouse and talk about the air.
Yeah, you know, with the Twins, I'm not ready to throw the quote unquote the baby out with the bathwater. But you know,
16 games, right?
You have those weekends when things go the wrong way, and you know, I thought they made a hell of a comeback on Friday night when they got the grand slam, and then Kepler hits the home run in the 9th to take the lead, and then hey, you know, stuff happens, and you don't like to see what happened on Saturday, the 10-1 loss, but like I said, it's baseball.
Yeah, I was at my bowling banquet, and then we had hockey on, and I know.
You're the champ?
Yeah.
The champion of the bowling league right here.
Yes.
Wow.
I think my life is complete.
The circle is filled in.
Michael Catron we won the large screen TV. Diana won a big 55-incher last year, and Mike Catron won one this year, and great prizes, and it was a fun night. We had food catered in from Almost Lindy's, and the brisket and some kind of chicken, which was really good, and good time. The area that we had the banquet is a little small. I mean, a lot of the bowlers did show up, and then our group of 6 of us stayed, and we bowled 3 games.
In celebration?
Nah, just something to do, and I think we got home about 11:15. Good fun night.
There you go. Yeah. Sounds like fun. Are we going to move on to the NFL draft, or is there anything else that we need to
Well, we
discuss?
got the Chuck Fletcher thing. We got the Wild. We talked that. We got the playoffs, which will continue on for the next couple weeks. We got the Twins and the T-Wolves covered. Spring sports looks like it could get a start now a little bit.
Baseball team, this is Monday, playing their first game in War Road today, and softball got 4 games in, 3 on Saturday out at Badger Greenbush Middle River Tournament. They fared pretty well, winning 2 out of 3. They're 3-1 on the season, so a good start with the new head coach Shelby Nosen. And I'll say it this way: I know they scored 11 runs in Game 1 on Saturday, 12 in Game 2, and 5 more in Game 3. They still aren't hitting the ball the way that I think that softball team is going to hit the ball.
Oh, wow.
That's the scary part. They put up 28 runs or whatever it works out to be in 3 games. And I don't think they're hitting the ball as good as they're going to hit it when it warms up. It'll be really exciting. You're going to want to get out and watch this team. Mariah Leahy throws the ball pretty well in the circle, and the team's going to hit the ball around, and it's going to be fun to watch.
Good. And again, I've played a lot of fast pitch in my younger days, and had a good time doing it. But I played in a lot of 1-0, 2-1 games because pitching pretty much dominated, and as they get into better competition, they'll run into better pitching, and that's
since
where
they
it gets
moved
a little
the
tougher.
since they moved the circle back 3 feet here 6-8 years ago, it's opened up the game offensively. That pitcher just can't be quite as dominant as they used to be. So
Yeah, let's move on. I guess we'll get to the NFL draft.
yeah,
That's our annual thing, our third annual. That's kind of traditional for me personally. I always jump in the vehicle, head down to the cities, and take part in draft parties.
Well, and the thing with him is this is his life this week. He won't. You aren't going to miss a second of this.
Well, I won't for sure Thursday. I won't move from the time of the first pick to the 32nd pick. And then the next day I'll get up and dabble in it. I think something's going on though.
Well, it doesn't start till like 6 o'clock.
I think
Friday
we're
night,
watching my daughter Amanda's dog, Bo.
Oh,
Amanda's going to watch Brad Paisley, so I think we get Bo the dog. But from what I understand, Bo likes football, right? Bo Jackson?
Bo knows football, man.
Bo knows football, and this is a pretty big weekend. I enjoy it. I don't know why. It's such a trivial, stupid thing that people would look at and say, man, you need a life.
Did I see right? ESPN not being, it's on Fox. It's not on ESPN. Is this true?
ESPN's given up quite a bit if you think about it. I mean, the original final 68 teams this year for the NCAA tournament was not on ESPN. They had their show, but they were secondary as far as getting to announce it.
I thought I saw Fox in the NFL.
I don't know, they're too busy having sports talk shows. And have you seen the new one with Greeny?
No.
Oh, and him and Jalen Rose. And
no, I have not turned it on.
It is absolutely atrocious. What is he doing? I mean, here's a guy who thought he was getting too big or wanted to. I don't know. He's a Northwestern guy, so he probably needed something what he would consider more challenging than a Mike Golick. Okay, and Golick and Wingo now got transferred over to ESPN like 4 or 5, and you know, it's but the new show's on ESPN. I believe it starts at 6 a.m. and it is absolutely the most boring thing to watch. I'll switch over and I'll watch Mike Florio on 65. But not a good move by Greeny in my opinion. But he's kind of a fake, anyways.
Let's move on here to the draft. Cleveland Browns, the worst team in the NFL for the last God knows how many years, have the number 1 pick, and right now the number 4 pick overall. Matter of fact, what did I read today? They got 5 of the top 52.
Yeah,
I think is the number. So that's insane.
Well, you win 1 game in 2 years. You know, you gotta have something good.
You gotta have something. So,
well, here's a big question.
Who
needs a quarterback?
Yeah. Do they need a quarterback?
Absolutely. I got 8 teams. Cleveland.
Okay.
The New York Jets.
Yep.
Denver.
Yep.
Buffalo.
Yep.
Miami.
Yep.
Arizona. The Giants. And New England.
Yeah.
In that order.
Yep.
Okay. And there's 4 for sure first rounders and 6 by need might turn into first rounders, and they are Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen, Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson, and Mason Rudolph. So that's good for the Minnesota Vikings because, of course, they need offensive linemen or defensive tackle. Offensive linemen preferably.
Yes, please.
This is loaded with interior offensive linemen, not so much on the outside offensive tackle. So we'll get to those things later. But those 8 teams need a quarterback. With that in mind, we'll go on with the draft. And we'll see how many of those. Are we going through all 32 or
no? No, we're going to do top 10.
Top 10, perfect. Perfect 10.
So, the Cleveland Browns draft first. They got to draft. Do they have to draft a quarterback first?
Yeah, because if they don't, the Jets and who picks 4th?
The Browns.
Browns. Yeah.
Browns
well, the Jets they want Darnold before anybody else. So yeah, They could go Saquon Barkley and take whatever's left out of Rose and Darnold and Josh Allen.
That's what struck me this afternoon. Could Cleveland throw everybody into a quandary? Because everybody thinks they're going quarterback. Mm-hmm. Could they take, in my opinion, this is
the best player in the draft?
Could they take the best player in the draft Do you take Barkley out of Penn State, the running back, and say, look, we got 1 and 4. We're going to get a quarterback at 4. Some people are saying they were talking about the draft class 83, the best quarterback draft class ever. Is this one there? I don't think so. But there could be some pretty good quarterbacks in this. Do you finally say, well, we'll take the best player, and then 3 picks later, we'll take the 3rd best quarterback and take our chances that the guy we get is going to be that superstar?
Well, it's 1A, 1B, and 1C. I don't think there's a big difference, and we'll get to that a little bit. But Darnold, Josh Allen, and of course Josh Rosen, there's not a lot of difference. I know my sources are saying right now that the Giants, or Cleveland is in discussion with the Giants and saying we're taking Barkley unless you want to move up to the number 1 because of the very same reason you said. We'll take one of the 3 remaining at 4.
Right.
Okay. So there is some discussion between Cleveland and the Giants. I believe the Giants would have to give up a 3rd rounder, not a lot, to move up 1 pick from 2 to 1.
That's it?
Just give up a 3rd rounder. Well, they'll flip-flop 1 and 2. So the Giants would move up to 1, Cleveland would go down to 2.
Remember, San Francisco gave up like 2 1s and a 2 last year. I think wasn't it San Francisco to move up like 4 spots or something?
That's what I'm seeing here. Is another Chicago, San Francisco type deal.
Right.
Vikings did it a few years back with Cleveland going from 3 to 4. So they took Trent Richardson, Cleveland did, and the Vikings took Matt Khalil. So I have my sources saying the Giants and Cleveland are in discussion. They're bluffing at it, seeing if they'll bite. Cleveland knows who they want, and if the Giants are set on Saquon Barkley, they might have to move up to number 1 to make sure they do get him.
Okay, so let me ask you this question. Let's say that Cleveland decides in their mind that they're not going to take Barkley and they're going to take one of the quarterbacks either at 1 or 2. 1 or 2. They're going to take a quarterback. Now they've got the 2nd and the 4th pick, or the 1st and the 4th pick. Now do they start going, we got 5 of the top 52, but boy, 7 out of the top 52 sounds a whole heck of a lot better. Maybe we'll trade that pick. Maybe we'll take the quarterback and we'll skip out on Barkley because he's not going to be there. But we're going to add in 6 top 50 players in the draft, and they're going to give it up to Miami or to New England, who's going to want to get up there and get that quarterback. This is going to Thursday night is going to be
fun.
Is going to be.
That's why I like it.
It is going to be crazy. I just see this thing as I don't know.
Yeah, but I just don't see it because I think this draft goes about 5 really. If you throw the quarterbacks in again, if I was a GM, there's such a gamble at that quarterback position. I would say 50% you're going to hit on one of the 2. And we'll see.
You mentioned that there are 8 teams that need a quarterback, that there are 6 potential first-round. So does that make 2 of the teams, 3 of the teams super desperate, and they're going to have to give up something to get there?
Very possible. Buffalo's already moved up a little bit, and New England, of course, has moved further into the first round. I think they thought when they made the trade that Baker Mayfield might drop to 23. That doesn't look to be the case now. Buffalo and Miami's showing its hand right now. Denver's showing its hand. So unless they're all bluffing, I don't know. But somebody's going to get a really good defensive end in Chubbs, and he's kind of being left alone right now because all the talk's on the 4 quarterbacks and Saquon Barkley. My number 1 pick, I think he's the safest play on the board. Josh Allen might have the most upside, but Sam Darnold's he's the best quarterback on the board. Yep. So Cleveland, Sam Darnold.
I'll ask this question before I say: is Josh Allen Carson Wentz? Is he? Same head
plays
coach.
A little bit like him. Good point. Wyoming coach. He has the most upside, but he also has the most risk. Okay, just because of where he played. But that's why, I think that's why Goff went before Wentz too. Goff was playing at California and Wentz was at NDSU. But I still think, personality-wise, Sam Darnold says, I'd love to play in Cleveland. Josh Rosen, not so much. He's a UCLA boy, and he might do the Eli Manning on him if they took him. But Sam Darnold to Cleveland, who do you got?
I'm going Josh Allen. I'm going the kid out of Wyoming.
I think one of us will be right.
Yeah.
I don't think it won't be Josh Rosen.
Okay. So we're going to go to number 2. We're going to go to the New York Giants, who absolutely fell in the pile of poop last year and have the number 2 overall pick. I will say this. I believe that if Barkley is there at 2, that's who they take. He can't. They can't. This is a can't miss kid, and that's why Cleveland's just. Like I said, Cleveland's just got to be sitting there going, we can't. We shouldn't be able to lose on this.
Yeah, and what they're saying there too is Saquon Barkley, instead of one of the 3-4 main quarterbacks, is Eli Manning still has a couple more years left in him. So I think it's a smart play, and he's a game changer. He's an Ezekiel Elliott, Delvin Cook, Kareem Hunt, even maybe better than those two, but definitely an Ezekiel Elliott type talent. And I got Saquon Barkley going to the G-Men.
The one drafting that I looked at online had Barkley all the way to 4. Cleveland was going to get him at 4.
Yeah, a lot of them do. A lot of them have 3 quarterbacks.
I can't believe that you can let a player of that caliber, of that talent, drop all the way to 4. I can't believe that he'll make it past 2.
Yeah, we got them both going to New York Giants.
To the Giants. The Jets are up next, back-to-back New York teams. That makes me very, very happy that they're drafting at the top of the draft.
Where's the draft at this year?
Is it in Chicago?
No.
It's in
Dallas?
Dallas. Yeah, somebody said something about Texas. Maybe in Houston.
Maybe, I don't know.
Probably at Jerry's big stadium, and he can.
They're going quarterback.
They're going quarterback.
So obviously,
already our good friend, what's his name? He used to quarterback for the Vikings. What is his name?
Fran Tarkenton?
No. The other guy, the guy with the
Dante?
who blew up his knee. I forget his name
Culpepper?
already. Yeah, I forget his name.
Bridgewater?
Bridgewater.
What did he say?
He's already out there feeling bad for himself because the Jets are talking about they're going to draft a quarterback. Oh, hey, buddy.
You got $10 million.
What do you want? Jeez Louise.
Yeah.
You didn't expect any competition. You're in New York now, baby. Live it up a little bit.
And they did move up from 6 to 3 to get this pick, so obviously they got their need, and it's going to be Josh Rosen.
It's going to be Josh
quarterback
Rosen.
out of UCLA. So you got Rosen going ahead of Darnold, and Allen going ahead of Darnold.
I do.
Shame on you.
What about Baker Mayfield? You think he's going to drop all the way to 23 because of the crap? Because of the baggage?
He should. I see Johnny Manziel, too, all over again.
I see Johnny Manziel all over again. That's why he's going to the New York Jets, because they think that fire, that whatever is going to be
You're taking Baker at number 3?
The Jets are. I'm not taking. The Jets are.
The Jets are.
The Jets are.
But you're predicting that?
That's what I'm predicting they're going to do.
Instead of Darnold or Rosen?
Yep, they're gonna take that spunk, that fire, that whatever.
I shouldn't take any more weeks off. You are on a roll tonight. Your stuff is out there. You're ludicrous right now.
All right, Browns at number 4.
Number 4, Cleveland.
Cleveland's gonna take at quarterback because at number 4. Sorry, because they already took their quarterback in your mind. Mm-hmm. They're gonna.
You're gonna say trade.
They're gonna trade, absolutely.
And who are they trading with?
Boy. It could be Miami. It could be New England.
Buffalo.
It could be Buffalo.
I think Buffalo is the most likely team to draft in the first round, and Tampa Bay's up, and Tampa Bay's probably the most likely to drop back.
Okay.
Now, is there going to be a marriage between Buffalo and Tampa? Possibly 7 for 12. We shall see. But at number 4, I'm taking, I think, the real, true, legitimate defensive star in this draft, Bradley Chubb, defensive end, North Carolina State at number 4. And some say he should be top pick, but this is quarterback-driven class, so I got Chubb at number 4.
If Cleveland keeps that pick at 4, I agree with you. That's who they take.
Bradley Chubb.
I agree.
Stud.
No doubt in my mind.
And if New England moves up, they're going after, obviously, Darnold or Rosen or Allen, whichever one.
Who's ever left over in this.
Which wouldn't be a bad move on their part. I don't be surprised. They got the 23rd and the 31st picks. That would be enough to move up to that spot.
Okay. Yeah. So you're thinking they'd have to give up both of those picks to get all the way up to
maybe
4.
even a little something else.
And even a little something else.
Yeah.
That's very possible. Like I said, if Cleveland gets their guy, the guy they really want at number 1, and they see somebody who's desperate to move, Cleveland trades that pick for multiple other picks, and they go crazy. They go kind of Dallas Cowboys back in the mid-'90s when they had all the picks from the Vikings and everything else. And
They're
absolutely bonkers. And drafted just a class. And I don't know if this class is that deep to get enough horses, but obviously with the number of football players out there, it is.
That's one thing I wanted to mention too, is I think overall this could be one of the weakest drafts in the last 25 years as far as top to bottom, high end to low end, and I look at the first round, and there might be 15 legitimate first round style, talent-wise picks there. So it is a weaker class, but that doesn't mean it won't be entertaining. Number 5.
Denver Broncos.
Where are you going?
They need a quarterback.
They do, but Case is there. All our quarterbacks are all over the. I mean, every quarterback. I mean, Teddy's in the Jets. They're going to take a quarterback. Case with Denver, they're going to take quarterback, and Sam Bradford in Arizona very likely could take a quarterback at 15. So who do you got?
The guy who's left,
that would be Sam Darnold.
Well, I had Sam Darnold at 4, so we're talking Rosen is the guy at 5 that's left over. I would say that in my mind that's probably who is going to be taken there. But again, it'll depend upon who's been taken above.
Since I got Rosen going to the Jets, I got Josh Allen from Wyoming, the big high-end quarterback, and that they'll be happy to take him. John Elway and company at Denver. Don't be surprised, too, if they don't get their guy. They go after that Denzel Ward, the cornerback out of Ohio State. Okay. But I think they're one of the big 3 quarterbacks going to be there, and they're going to take Josh Allen.
Number 6, the Indianapolis Colts.
Sitting in a good spot, aren't they?
They're sitting in an interesting spot.
Yeah.
And my question for you is this. Are they looking for a quarterback? Because that's not one of the teams that you listed. And where is Luck's health at? Are they thinking that maybe they need to have a quarterback that they're bringing in for a year to get groomed and everything else? So that's my question. Are they thinking about getting into this high stake and maybe moving up to 3 or 4?
They were at 3, though.
Well, that's true.
Yeah. So,
but they picked up some picks. Could they
move back again, kind of like the one show? I don't see it. I think Luck's they got to pin all their luck on Luck. I mean, that's what they got to do, and if it doesn't work out, maybe next year, the year after. Because if Luck doesn't play this year, they're going to get another top 5 pick in the draft next year, and they're going to be right in good hands for another quarterback. So with that in mind, I got a guy who's been moving up the boards is Roquan Smith. He's a linebacker out of Georgia, pick number 6. He's projected around 15 to 25 earlier. He's been moving up the draft boards, and I got a really good linebacker, quick, fast, good pass rusher, just what the Indianapolis Colts need at number 6. They would take Chubbs if he's there at 6.
Yeah, if Chubbs is there.
They'll take Roquan instead.
But the one that I'm looking at here, they got Tremaine Edmonds, the linebacker out of Virginia. So it's another linebacker
out of Virginia Tech.
Yep. So I would say they might be, like I said, evaluating.
Those are your 2 highest edge rushing linebackers, Tremaine Edmonds and Roquan Smith. So either way, I think Indianapolis is sitting in pretty good shape because they're getting a player of need and they're getting a high-end player of need in Roquan Smith or Tremaine Edmonds. So number 7 is Tampa Bay. Again, this is a team that could go a lot of different directions. Don't be surprised if they move down from 7 to 11 or 12, depending on, in my opinion, what Buffalo, Miami, New England, where they value Baker Mayfield. Okay.
I like that.
But with that in mind, Tampa Bay not making a trade will take the best pure defensive back in the draft. Very athletic. You've seen him in the big playoff format with the University of Alabama. Minkah Fitzpatrick is safety / cornerback out of Alabama.
How about Quentin Nelson, the offensive lineman out of Notre Dame?
But Chicago's hoping not. I mean, Quentin Nelson, he's been pegged for Chicago, I think, since the season ended. So he's by far the best offensive lineman in the draft.
Does Tampa Bay dangle him out there and say, "Do you want him?" And say, "Well, we'll
that's why I think there's another reason some teams behind, like other teams that need offensive linemen, kind of go off. Doesn't really come up till like 18, 19, 20. So if someone wanted to move up to 7, that's a long ways to go, and they'd have to give up an awful lot. So,
but you said the offensive linemen, the inside guys, this is a pretty good draft.
Very good. It's more on the inside, guards, centers more than offensive tackles. Okay. But Minkah Fitzpatrick, and you go. Okay. I'm going to
go with Nelson.
Quentin Nelson. Yep. Well, they sandbag their ex NFC Central foe in the Tampa Bay Bucks. Remember when that used to be a division?
Yeah.
Yes.
Tampa, Chicago,
There was
Detroit,
5 in that.
yeah, Detroit, Green Bay, and the
The
Vikings.
NFC Norris, as Chris Berman used to call it.
Absolutely. Chicago Bears up at 8.
Well, I got Quentin Nelson. That's the biggest no-brainer in the first 10 picks. To me, he's solid set. Quentin Nelson in Chicago. He's a Chicago-type kid, played at Notre Dame.
Down the road.
Some say could be the best offensive guard to come out of the draft in 25 years.
Wow.
We shall see.
And if he's not there, then I'm going with Smith, the other linebacker that you had going to Indy. They're going to take that.
That defense is getting good in Chicago, I'm telling you.
And we talked about this last year. I said the Chicago Bears could draft anybody in the top. They need players, and so they're maybe looking more position wise, but I think they're looking who's the best available guy that we can get at 8. I mean, who's at the top of our board? It doesn't matter offense, defense.
Good point.
They're going. We just need to get good talent here, and that's why.
Well, let's put this. Quan Smith is still there, and then they go with Tremaine Edmonds at 6, like you said, in Indy. It wouldn't be far-fetched if Quentin Nelson was there and you take Roquan Smith. He's been that good. So, but I still got to stick to my guns. Quentin Nelson to the Bears, Bears.
San Francisco 49ers up next.
Are they going to be like the NFC West champs, or are they going to LA Rams? I mean, it seems like Seattle's like 3rd and Arizona's 4th out there. What do you got going happening there?
Well, I think it could be.
The quarterback hasn't lost a game.
Yeah, well, that's gonna end, I think, in a big hurry for Garoppolo.
The little Italian kid is going to come to an end, huh?
Yeah, again, the 49ers in a very similar situation that the Chicago Bears in. A lot of the teams that they're going to take that best available player. There's a bunch of guys out there.
There is.
And like I said, it all depends upon who they value, what they think they need most. It could be this Derwin James, D-back from Florida State. It could be
safety.
Marcus Davenport, the defensive end. Like I said, there's just some kids out there.
But Chubb's probably Davenport's the next best defensive end rusher in this draft, and that's a Texas San Antonio kid, and kind of a unique individual story there. So.
Well, and you talked about, if in my draft Fitzpatrick would still be there, the DB. Now, I mean, in my draft that he would still be there, and I think that would probably be one of those kind of no-brainer things.
And we all know through experience, I think I got it nailed every year, and all it takes is one pick to just blow your whole first round up and blow up your first 10 picks.
They should, they do the whole draft thing or the whole thing for the NCAA. They should see if anybody can get the top 10 right like that and put up a board. ESPN should say, here's your top 10 picks. Because I think that'd be just as tough as trying to pick all 63 games in the NCAA.
Exactly. Well, I got a unique case going. Remember Marshawn Lattimore dropped. I had him top 4, top 5 last year in the draft. The cornerback out of Ohio State ends up being NFC Defensive Rookie of the Year for the New Orleans Saints, who ended up picking him much later on than where he was anticipated to go. There's another defensive back out of Ohio State this year, probably the best pure cornerback in this draft, Denzel Ward out of Ohio State. He will not get past the San Francisco 49ers at number 9, and that's who they're going to take, is Denzel Ward.
Oakland Raiders up at number 10?
Yeah, I got Tremaine Edmonds. They're going to take whatever's left at linebacker, and one of Roquan Smith or Edmonds. Probably Edmonds will more likely be there, the Virginia Tech linebacker. And between Chicago and Oakland, I've kind of had these two I haven't really moved. I've had Edmonds on Oakland, and I've had Quentin Nelson on Chicago. Other than that, my other 8 I've kind of mixed and matched.
Okay.
But I'm going to go Edmonds kid going to the Oakland Raiders, and the new head coach, John Gruden.
Defense, or because he's an offensive guy. Does he draft defense?
He does. They got a pretty good offense. Crabtree's gone now, but they'll figure it out there out in Oakland. And
but they will draft defense.
They're going to go defense.
They're going to go defense.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
In my opinion.
Okay.
What do you got at 10?
Like I said, there could be a host of defensive players there. That's who they're going to take. And like I said, Miami's sitting there at 11 going, we want a quarterback. Well, Rosen, you got Rudolph, you got these guys that could be left over. Who knows what, like I said, it's going to be fun. And, I know last year we came on here with Logan and I kind of gave you I don't even know what to tell you because it was so wide open last year. I had no clue. And, this year I kind of feel the same way because it could blow up. That first pick, who knows what could happen, and you could be sitting there going, I never thought that could happen, and it could all play out.
And the Vikings are hoping again 5 or 6 quarterbacks get taken in the first 29 picks, and I'm pretty sure 5 of them will be. I'm not sure about the 6th one, but
you're not a Lamar Jackson fan?
he'd be my number 5, and then the kid out of Oklahoma State would probably be number 6, but we'll get onto that.
Rudolph,
and
yeah,
Mason Rudolph. So let's get to the Vikings pick, and let's have you talk a little bit about it first.
It's going to be offensive linemen. They have to draft an offensive lineman. They, as much as they might need a defensive tackle, as you mentioned earlier, they need an offensive lineman. They've got to have somebody in front that can run block and pass block. This team's got so much offensive talent, and it would be a shame to see that talent not be able to be utilized correctly because they don't have an offensive line that can go 7 or 8 guys deep. And with Berger retiring and all the other stuff that's going on, with the injuries and who knows what else is going on, they need to find a guy in the middle. They've got the kid that was center from Ohio State last year, can't think of his name. Elflein, thank you, that had the injury that should be back. They find a guy who can play alongside of him. Now you keep those 2 tackles that they picked up last year.
Remmers and Riley Reef.
And so now all of a sudden you start going, okay, we got 4 out of 5. Can we find somebody, a 5th, and then can you find a 6th and a 7th guy that can be there to replace when somebody gets nicked or hurt or go down? And if they do that, the Vikings should show themselves pretty well.
So you got a specific pick on that?
No. I mean, it's going to come down to who gets taken above. How many teams decide that they're going to go offensive linemen above them, and I don't know if I know that.
The only thing that concerns me, if a Jairi Alexander, these are cornerbacks, defensive backs, or a Josh Jackson out of Iowa, either of them drop, they're just too talented and too skilled. I don't see them, neither of them dropping to 30, but again, if 6 quarterbacks get taken in the first 29 picks, somebody's going to drop down. Okay, the Vikings offensive lineman, Mike McGlinchey, the big offensive tackle that played with Quentin Nelson at Notre Dame, will be gone. And I believe Colton Miller, the offensive tackle out of UCLA, will be gone. Right now, Isaiah Wynn out of Georgia, Will Hernandez out of UTEP, and James Daniels and Billy Price, 2 Big Ten boys out of Iowa and Ohio State. I'm projecting they're gone. Okay, Isaiah Wynn would be awesome.
Isaiah Wynn, the one that
my projection is they're either going to take, because I think Isaiah Wynn's too good. He'll be gone. Yeah, I think so. So it's going to be between 2 Big Ten guys, and they have good luck with Ohio State and Iowa kids. It's either going to be James Daniels out of Iowa or Billy Price out of Ohio State. They really liked how Elflein turned out. They're well coached at Ohio State. Though another one that could be in there is Connor Williams, the big offensive tackle. I think they kind of want more of an offensive tackle, but I think a guard that can play center and guard, which is what Billy Price can do. And I really like James Daniels and Billy Price. I think that's who the Vikings are going to get, one of those 2 guys.
Is there enough talent offensive line-wise, because you've done your homework, is there enough talent for them to wait till the 2nd round or 3rd round to get a guy that can do the job?
That's what they normally do. In the last 15 years, the only first-round offensive lineman they took was number 4, Matt Khalil. Yeah. So they always wait. Elflein they got in the 3rd round last year, which was a heck of a steal for him. And a lot of the Vikings were hoping that he would be there, and he did. So Billy Price, he won't go into the 2nd round, as will James Daniels. If they go in the 2nd round, it'll be early. So the Vikings are going to be very fortunate.
Is that something that the Vikings could be at, with being at 30, go, okay, we're at the end of the 1st round. We already kind of know what maybe is going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay, we draft somebody else other than an offensive lineman, and then we move our butts up and get a top pick in the 2nd round, give up a 4th and a 5th or something, and move to 34 or 35 and say we still can get our offensive lineman there.
Yeah, and you got an Orlando Brown, a big offensive tackle out of Oklahoma. Don't be surprised at 30 if the Vikings trade out of that 1st round and give up that guaranteed contract for 1st round picks. So New England, that's why they've done it a lot of times. They get out of the 1st round and they save some money and some responsibility. So don't be surprised if that happens. But the big thing you Vikings got to be careful. If they're set on a James Daniels or Billy Price out of Ohio State and Iowa, and then there's an Isaiah Wynn sitting there, now do they go into panic mode? I hope not, because Isaiah Wynn is very good. He's really good, and I would rather him be on the Vikings than Daniels or Price. But
any chance that they move up to get one of
not
those
a
guys?
chance.
Not a chance.
Not a chance. There's just between Colton Miller at UCLA, who might go at 18, 19, right around Seattle area. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. What do you got the Packers taking? Any idea? They go to wide receiver?
I hope Dr. Death.
Yeah, well, Calvin Ridley.
I hope they draft somebody that's actually like gone. I mean,
the two intriguing players that are offensive minded are Calvin Ridley out of Alabama, who's projected as a #1 receiver. This is a kind of a weaker first round class, but it's loaded in the second. Probably projected 10 to 12 wide receivers could go in the second round. But Calvin Ridley and DJ Moore, I got to watch DJ Moore play against the Gophers last year when the Gophers played at Maryland at the new stadium there. Both I got one possibly going to Green Bay and Ridley, and then the other one, DJ Moore, going to the Dallas Cowboys in place of our good buddy Dez.
Where does Dez end up?
I think he wants to play for the G-men, but I don't think the new head coach
wants him there.
No, he's a headache.
He's a headache.
He is a headache. So that's our draft for the year. We didn't go through all 32 picks. Should be a good, fun draft, and Vikings are going to get out of it with a very good pick regardless.
I agree.
Q&A?
Yeah.
Do you got anything else?
Do we want to talk about that? We have to mention.
Go ahead.
Derek White, Bronco hockey player, graduated from Falls High in 2013, passed away this morning from injuries sustained in an accident, and I just want to give my condolences to his family, and just a great kid. I had Whitey in class, and he always came in with a smile on his face, always had time to stop by and ask how Ringer was doing. So to me, he was a class kid. And it's a sad story.
It is. The 1 year I did coach hockey, Whitey was a sophomore defenseman on our team, and played the game hard, and had a lot of passion for the game. And to the day that he unfortunately passed on us here, loved the game of hockey, and we kind of teased each other, about him signing his first NHL contract, and. Because he still wasn't signed yet, and I'd kind of give him a hard time. We were kind of Twitter buddies, and just a very lovable, likable kid that's passed on away too early. But rest in peace, Derek White.
Question and answer.
All right, but you need change to when the ice is out. We have had some nice days.
Boy, I got to go up a couple weeks now. It's going to be out before the opener.
Now,
No, it still won't be out before the opener. It's nice days, but
it's raining on Thursday.
How much rain on Thursday?
16 inches.
So it's predicted.
So then it would be how much rain is predicted on Thursday?
That has a lot to do with it, but ice.
Whatever weatherman said, he's right half the time.
It's the 23rd today. Never before the 7th. It's at least 2 more weeks, and I know that's before it. No, it's going to be after. It's going to be after the opener.
May 5th.
Where can I get one of those
Cinco de Mayo.
invisible watches?
You can buy those at any of your invisible.
Did you just
watch
look at
store. Yeah, I did.
Do you normally wear one?
No, but I do that with my kids. I'm like, you're late, and they're like, you don't have a watch on. I'm like, really? Yeah, I know. I told you. I know. Okay. Good. Did you make a prediction? When's the ice going out? We get to ask back. It's Q&A.
Wow. Well, officially, I think it's going to be after opener.
Okay.
I think we'll have boats out here, but it has. I think we might set a record this year, though. I think it'll be past the 22nd. I
Wow.
think it's the 23rd.
Wow, that means it's going to turn cold again.
What time?
Well, I don't know.
Well, summer's half over.
So is when the buoys go out all the way to Count Falls.
Some say it's when you can get to Kettle Falls, right?
But ice out, I think, is officially when the buoys go out.
I thought it was when you could navigate, whether the buoys were there or not, but I could be wrong.
Well, you can navigate there now.
True, with an airboat, of course. All right, what else?
Now that the seagulls are back, what's your favorite seagull recipe?
Well, it's similar to my eagle recipe. I don't know. I don't like. And this one you actually can't eat it. It's goose, and that's a brutal. And I don't care how many big goose hunters out there that say you got the recipe to die for. The bird is unedible. Okay, I don't care how much stuff you put on it. Everything. Why, obviously the only reason people shoot geese is for the gaming or the fun of shooting birds. No, it's not for the. I mean, I'm guessing if people in the early days had to live off of geese, they just said to heck with it. Okay, I'm just gonna pass on and go see the dear Lord. I'm not gonna eat this goose.
Wow.
What else?
And he said I was wound up at the beginning. Anyway, what else?
What do you think of the Gophers hockey men's coach hire and the women's basketball coach?
I think the Gophers did very well getting Motzko. I think that was he was probably the hot coach to go get. Gives them whatever. Same thing with Whalen being the new women's basketball coach. That is I'm not saying she's going to be a good coach or a bad coach, but that baby was driven because she's an alum and she's going to sell some tickets and she's going to put some butts in the seats and they're going to get something going and they're hoping that they're also going to win some basketball games along the way. But this is we're going to go from I don't know how many season ticket sales the Gopher women had. And I'm just going to put it at 1,000, and that's nothing. If I'm high and low, it doesn't matter. They're hoping that it's going to triple. People will come out and buy tickets because Lindsay Whalen's the coach, and she's a name, and they're going to get people to come out and at least for this season come watch women's basketball in droves. And of course, the volleyball team. Their national championship caliber team. I went and watched a match last year and barely could get a seat to get in. It was 5,500 people. It was absolutely packed. So can you do those kinds of things? Can those kind of sports do that? Absolutely. They can get 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 people on a regular basis. And Whalen can do that because she's a name. And people are going to come out to watch the Gophers because of her.
She should be able to recruit like that.
Well, you would hope.
I think both of them, they're cute moves.
Motzko's not going to make it with the Gophers?
Well, he'll make it. I said earlier 2 weeks ago when he was hired, I just thought it wasn't a very good fit. I've always looked at Bobby Motzko as being that underdog type coach who does really well when he's not expected to. He's going to be expected to do really well now. Not saying he won't because he was successful with the U.S. juniors. But I just look at Motzko. He's more of an underdog, and I think Scotty Sandelin's kind of proven that as well at UMD, and he's done very well. But we shall see. Both of them are intriguing, but I don't think a big deal on either.
What about St. Cloud State hiring Nelson away from UMD?
Yeah, that was a bit of a surprise, and I understand latest rumor has Nelson hiring both Gibbons and Raboyne to be his assistants, or at least offering. Both assistants. Who knows if they're going to accept? Because again, those are where your recruits are coming from, and it'd be a good move on Larson's part. I like it because it's a new person. Normally, a lot of these teams are going after cast-offs and recyclables, and at least St. Cloud's being original. They're hiring someone they feel strong about.
Yeah, and to go back to the St. Cloud hire, this is a guy that was at UMD when they won in 2011. Went to Ohio State, look at where their program is at, comes back to UMD, they win another national championship, so he's got things going for him. He's a hot name right now. So I think for St. Cloud State, they had somebody good, and they've got somebody pretty good right now.
Yeah. What else?
Jeff, have you ever heard of water curling?
No, but I'm guessing we're gonna.
Well, the ice is melting a little bit faster than normal out here, so I don't know if we'll do the curling out here.
Yeah.
Just thinking, why don't we do like water curling?
Okay, and
that's going to be interesting.
I don't know if you know anything about gravity.
It's just a theory. I know it's just
No, so is gravity. Only it's fact. 80-pound rock, let go, drop to the bottom of the lake. It won't even skip like a real rock.
But then you got to factor in the waves. Maybe you do it just shy that the waves push it in.
Ooh.
Have you been here all day or just most of the day?
He was in, weren't you in California last week when we?
I was in Chicago.
Chicago.
Yeah.
And
Too much
it
wind.
snowed there. It snowed twice, and I hopefully left it there.
There you go.
Well, Chicago, that's my kind of town.
All right, so one last question.
Oh, boy.
Water polo, sport or no sport?
See, I started that 3 weeks ago in Ringgold,
Yeah.
and water polo is definitely not a sport.
Because?
Because basically it's what do you call that? When you try to stay afloat, it's
You tread water?
tread water. Treading water is not considered hand-eye.
But when somebody's trying to pull you down by your shorts,
That's
now-
illegal. That's a penalty.
Yeah, it's a penalty.
That's a penalty.
So is cross-checking. Ask Eric
Yeah,
Stahl
but no,
after he got
water
6
polo, again, it's another one of those sports that people were sitting in a bar and said, let's try this. Let's get a volleyball and jump in the water. And that's how it started. Okay?
I love watching.
But good
water
questions.
Polo. I love watching water polo. I'm going to say it's a sport because they do keep score, and it does take some talent to be able to go out there and do what they do, and so it's a sport.
I put some sharks in there, and then
There.
now we got a
How about some
sport.
piranhas? No.
Piranha, that's a myth. They don't really attack people unless they're
Provoked.
provoked.
Now, are you just saying it's not a sport because you can't tread water?
Oh, I'm one of the best treading water people on the lake. Okay, I'll jump off my pontoon, I'll tread. But it doesn't mean I want Diana, my wife, to throw me a volleyball and we start.
Well, I think you could if you turn the pontoon boat the right way, you could try to fight it in between the pontoons.
All I need is, out there treading water and Mr. Ice Curler guy throws me a couple rocks. Of course, I'm so competitive enough that I'll have to try to catch both of them.
I don't
guess
know.
what?
Yeah, there you go. I don't know what they're going to do with this show, but is that enough? Does that wrap it up?
I'm exhausted.
Thanks, everybody.
Don't take us too serious.
Jeez.